I would like to start also with thanking you for the kind invitation and for this great company. I can introduce the ZKM2, the Center for Art and Media, which is situated in Karlsruhe, and I also start my timer. Karlsruhe is in southwestern Germany, very close to the French border, and it's already an institution with quite long history. It was founded in '89. But I wouldn't give a history lesson. I wouldn't introduce the entire story of the institution. It would be also impossible in the given time frame. But what I would like to try, at least, to sort of lay out a glossary and to embed these terms in a context, since we all know from Donna Haraway that grammar is politics by other means. So here you can see on the slide the ZKM, at least the kubus in front of it. The ugly part I cut out because the ugly part is a huge, massive ammunition and weapon factory, which was built throughout the First World War, and it was still producing throughout the Second one. And the ZKM is situated in that building as many other digital art centers or art centers at all that occupy former industrial infrastructure. And it consists of various things. It has a publication department on its own, which collaborates with quite a lot of publishing houses, including the MIT Press. It is a collection of, it has a collection of different artworks, more than 10,000 pieces that are media art pieces, but also including traditional media. It has a public library. It has various sorts of artists in residencies. It is also a museum in itself, so not only a center, but the center includes a museum. And it has a very massive exhibition program with more than 20 temporary shows a year. And furthermore, the ZKM is an open space with interdisciplinary projects from the arts, from philosophy, science, and technology. So these are the main fields we try to unite. And also the important methods are participation, innovation, performativity, and discursivity. While creating our program, and we can also say, it's maybe not that humble way to put it, but we can say that the ZKM is a worldwide institution, despite the fact that it's situated in a small town of 300,000 inhabitants in a rural area of Germany. But it's worldwide because of its live stream, its online formats, and the international collaborations throughout the world, not just Europe. So some of the ideas I would like to present here, or some of the main words of the glossary belong to different exhibitions. One of these is global activism that took place around a decade ago, reacting to the turmoils, revolutions that took place and were facilitated by social media in the first decade of the 21st century. Then the ZKM can become not just an exhibition space, but also a co-working space. And here we can see a show which was called Open Codes that tried to bring in different communities from Karlsruhe and from the neighborhood. So we were working very locally with communities that are interested in the political implications of coding, and we brought them together in the space of the ZKM, together with quite wide scope of artworks that were either created for the exhibition or were curated by our curatorial team. Before this exhibition, there was another quite large-scale project which was called Globale, and it was a row of different events and included more than 20 exhibitions within 300 days. And one of these exhibitions or row of exhibitions referred to the term infosphere, which is something in between the noosphere and the cyberspace. And it's a term from the 70s, but it's still topical right now. But instead of going into that question, I would refer to another important stream of the Globale, which peaked in the Exo-Evolution exhibition. And you can see a part of it. It was a cloud actually in this industrial building, so you can see the architecture, the historical architecture of the ZKM behind it. One of the 10 atriums the institution is occupying. And performativity, as I mentioned, is also an important part of the institution's profile. In this case, we housed a large-scale solo exhibition, a performative exhibition of Sascha Waltz, and I just would like to show with this exhibition, or mentioning this exhibition, that Center for Art and Media is not only understood as a Center for Art and Digital Media, but any kind of media that is processual in a certain sense, and I guess it has quite a lot to do with the philosophical foundations of digitality that is also based on different approaches to processual ontologies. Thought exhibition, that's a big one. It's part of the ZKM's history, and also Thought exhibition, or Gedankenausstellung, is an invention of Peter Weibel and Bruno Latour. Bruno Latour has been the most important external curator of the ZKM in the last 20 years, and they created with Peter Weibel together, altogether 4 thought exhibitions throughout this time, which is based, the idea of the thought exhibition is based on thought experiment, what we know mostly from Einstein, from Galileo Galilei, from other scientists who try to play out different experiments, but experiments that are not possible to realize in a lab. And this is why they just had to think about it and describe their way of thinking. At the ZKM, fortunately, we have a lab. It's a quite generous space, and it can be turned into a laboratory, and it has been turned several times to a laboratory, among others, throughout the thought exhibitions. The latest thought exhibition was Critical Zones, that was not flushed away by the pandemic, but it took place, and it was prolonged. And it started with a live stream, with an opening that included the exhibition on site, and many other actors, scholars, scientists who joined us for this long weekend. Among others, of course, the main curator of the show, Bruno Latour, and Donna Haraway. This year, the ZKM's program pivots around biophilia, because it is important to mention that, or to remind us again and again, that it's not only the algorithmic that we have to work with, or we have to consider, but also the nature around us. So the current exhibition is called Biomedia, the current group exhibition, which includes various non-human actors, artificial beings who populate the exhibition space currently until August. Going back in the past, I would like to show very briefly an exhibition which elaborated on the algorithmic revolution, a revolution which occurred, but nobody really realized that it happened until recently, I would say, but the ZKM already reacted to this revolution, this phenomenon, and the different artistic approaches to it 20 years ago approximately. And I'm really out of time, so I will just run through the further slides and mention that gaming with a show and a collection of computer games is also an important part of the ZKM's constitution, as well as hacking and coding activities that always happen again and again, including the Goulash Programmiernacht, which is a collaboration with the local hacker group, the local body of the Chaos Computer Club. Sound art has been also an important stream, and in 2012 there was a large-scale show that engaged with the topic of sound art. Globalization and global art history, as formulated by Hans Belting, has been an important project, a research project, and exhibition, series of exhibitions that took place. And the ZKM is also a self-reflecting institution which tries to reflect on its own past. And here we can see the first Gedankenausstellung, the first thought exhibition, as a virtual museum, as a virtual experiment, which will be presented in a way that that is not like this. It's actually an early experiment, the virtual museum by Jeffrey Shaw from '91, and he created it also at the ZKM. But referring to this early experiment, we are creating a new type of display, an immaterial display that is created to delve into virtual worlds and virtual exhibition spaces. And our latest project is based on the, also has a foundation and has a glossary on its own. It's based on the idea of deconstructing and then reconstructing virtual reality. The project is an international collaboration, and the last slides, the last project you have seen, were part of this. They are being created or were created as part of this international collaboration called Beyond Matter, and I will play the video at last to show you what can come out of virtual reality. So this is it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Livia. Thank you, Livia.
Thank you very much.